You know, it's funny because it's about how people, like, let's just say people got extremely angry over an opinion someone made, and they weren't happy. It was not the opinion that they had over what they thought the ending was like. Immediately, we're like, they missed, you know, the problem is that people think that their interpretation of the story is the right way. So anyone who has like a vastly different opinion of it, of like their interpretation, it's immediately, oh, they're stupid, they're dumb, you know, they don't understand the story. And it's just like, God damn. The Final Fantasy VII community has been a real toxic place, and I'm experiencing for the first time. It's mostly seeing it, but it's also because I'm trying to look up to see how other people interpret things. You know, how they interpret the ending. Compared to like my own conclusion, and it's just like, okay, this is interesting, and then you have that one person who's just like, no, you don't fucking understand the fucking characters, you fucking piece of shit. You just have post lurkers. I just see posts because that's just what my Twitter x.com algorithm is showing me now. But I am interested in seeing what people's thoughts and ideas are, you know. For the life of me, it's just like, holy shit, people have different opinions. Why are we all of a sudden telling people they're fucking wrong because this is how I interpret it and it's the right way to interpret when you're not even the writer? It's just like, dude, it's just an opinion. It's just theories. Theories are made for fun. No one is Nojima, the writer of Final Fantasy VII. So why the fuck are you trying to claim your interpretation is right when it possibly could not be right? And they're trying to force it onto other people instead of allowing them, like, you know, to have those opinions. It's just like, who cares? Like, why are you so bothered by it? And I tell you why they're bothered by it. They're bothered by it because the person who made the opinion is a big streamer, right? He's a huge streamer. And they want huge streamers. They want them to speak and be vocal about the same opinions they have. And when they don't get that, they feel threatened. Because now that since this person is a more massive influencer than they are or other streamers, automatically they're like, oh, well, now this is bullshit because that's not what I interpreted. I interpreted differently, and I think my interpretation is the right way. But if a big streamer has a different interpretation, then most people believe that streamer than me or someone else or another streamer who's lower than me who knows about that. They feel threatened. And it's just like, dude, like, one person's opinion does not mean that's exactly how it goes. Everyone interprets differently, and you have the right to interpret whatever you want. But to feel threatened just because a big streamer or someone who has, you know, like a big, you know, community thinks differently than you do does not mean you could go around telling them that, you know, they're fucking wrong, I'm fucking right. Now, I've seen his takes on what happened. I disagree with some of them. But I'm not telling him that he's fucking bullshit wrong. Because some parts I do agree with it. Some parts I don't. But at the end of the day, it's like, that's how he interpreted it. And also, give him time. He'll probably interpret it a different way. Instead of believing what you believe in and you know, understanding that other people will interpret it differently, that not everyone probably thinks as like you do, doesn't mean you could go out and, you know, literally be a toxic person about it. And the streamer banned this person, and you know, that person started calling him out, crying, like, you know, not crying, but calling him out, saying that, oh, wow, instead of having a discussion, you blocked. Well, no shit. You literally had a post telling him that he misinterpreted and he's wrong, and you were very aggressive about it. Of course he's going to be mad. Of course he's going to be like, okay, I'm not going to listen to you. Whatever, I'm blocking you. I don't want to mute you. It's not that he doesn't want to think about your opinion. It's not like he doesn't want to think about your interpretation. It's just the way you present yourself is the reason why he blocked you. Not that he disagrees with you and that he doesn't want to, you know, be vocal about it. It's the way you present yourself. And this person, this streamer is, you know, very, very, he has a very close circle. You know, some streamers do. Not everyone is going to be friends with every single streamer out there. If he doesn't want to interact with someone who's more aggressive than understanding and, like, you know, try to have like a normal possible debate about certain things, he has every right to block you if you're being very aggressive about it. And it's funny because after that, this person started talking about how like, oh well, this person doesn't follow this streamer or this streamer who, you know, basically voice the same thing I do, you know, he doesn't care about them. He actually hates this character that I fucking love. And that's what I mean by crazy fans for certain characters. And technically also for a certain ship, because this person is also a shipper. You don't have to take in his opinion as fucking gospel. Some people might, you know, because, you know, they probably think the same way he does, and you know, they'll probably say yes. But that doesn't mean he's right. He doesn't know what's happening. He's not Nojima. He's not going to know what the fuck is happening. So I don't understand why people go this aggro, this toxic over something that nobody really understands. I've always said Final Fantasy VII is not a complete story yet, because there's a third part, right? There is a third part. And until the story is complete, no one knows exactly what is happening. If you craft a theory and you basically, you know, some of your theory or most of it gets confirmed in the third part, congratulations. You should feel proud of yourself because you're able to basically think the same way as the writer. But at this moment, at this time, your interpretation is not 100% correct. So don't go out and tell people that it is. That is incredibly stupid, because I've seen it happen before. I've seen it with shippers who automatically, immediately say, oh my god, my ship is canon 100%. You just don't see it. You'll find out as the story progresses, or, you know, as the story continues, you see that my ship is canon. Then in reality, what happens, guess what happens? Their ship doesn't become canon because they got, you know, ahead of themselves. That's not a proper thing to do, because now you feel like the writer messed up, that the writer has bad writing skills. And it's just like, are you kidding me? No, the writer doesn't have bad writing skills. It's just that you interpreted it the wrong way, and now you're fucking mad that it didn't come out the way it did. Shippers do this constantly. People who are fans with Domestic Girlfriend understand what I'm talking about. People who are fans of Devil is a Part-Timer understand where I'm coming from. Where they, you know, claim that a ship is canon, and then all of a sudden they get fucking twisted and take a left turn into something that's not even correct. That's the opposite of what they believe, and they get angry about it. The author has intentions. The author writes things with pure intentions in mind about what he wants. He's not going to be swayed by your opinions. He's not going to be swayed by other people's opinions. You don't have to believe anything I say. It is how I interpret. It's how my opinions go. If you come after me telling me I'm fucking wrong or stupid or, you know, anything like that, I'm going to ignore you. Or at least try to see, like, where you're coming from to see if we can have a proper discussion. More than likely, I won't be able to change your mind, because that's just how people are, right? People are very, you know, very strong about their opinions, very strong about their beliefs, right? And it's fine to have those. It's very good to have that. Be very strong with your beliefs. Be very confident with your theories, with everything that you believe is happening. But if the story does not go the way you wanted it to, or you believed it does, that does not mean that the author is a bad writer. It means that maybe you interpret it the wrong way. Now, granted, there are some stories that came out and, you know, probably were fucking terrible written, and it's mostly, you know, regurgitated by most of the community. Promised Neverland is a good one. Seven Deadly Sins. Oh boy, whew, don't even get me started on Seven Deadly Sins. Jesus fucking Christ. Last of Us Part 2. Some people will definitely love it no matter what, or some people like love it because they like it and that's how they, you know, view the story, and, you know, they really enjoyed the story. But if a majority of people do not like the ending, then maybe there's a slight chance that maybe the author or the writer, you know, went in a certain direction that, you know, maybe wasn't the correct choice. But at the end of the day, it's what the author wanted. And there's no reason to get mad at it. There's no reason to be toxic about it. Everyone's free to have their own opinion. You don't have to always agree with it. Exactly. The problem is that people in the Final Fantasy VII community, for some strange reason, have this thing where, like, if you don't agree with me, what I say, and I'm talking, this is mostly towards people who are fans of a favorite character or fans of a ship, because I've only seen it with, you know, people who are fans of characters and ships. I don't necessarily see it with people who actually just love the story for what the story is. And for the life of me, it just seems like either side, no matter which side or which character you love or which ship you love, You always want to try to defend it, and sometimes that becomes, in nature, a very toxic, discussion. It doesn't bother me when shippers do it because I'm so used to it to the point where, like, I just don't feel anything. I know how shippers think. I know how shippers work. I know how shippers will debate in any sort of discussion because I've been doing it for 15 fucking years. Right? I've been shipping for 15 fucking years. I know how shippers are. I was probably one of them when I was younger. I don't remember because my memory's complete shit nowadays. But I was probably one of them as well who, like, defended ships and, like, argued with people, with toxic people a lot. And if you watch my streams, most of the time you see me forget things that I should fucking know and I just don't fucking remember. Understand that you do not know what is canon, what the author's intentions are, until you get the full story. Now, sometimes the full story doesn't answer all the questions. And that's perfectly fine. Because you want, sometimes with the story, to allow people to continue talking into the future. To keep engagement. And what Nojima did with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is just that. He gave you an ending that is unknown what exactly is happening there. He's giving you an opportunity to keep talking about it until part 3 comes out in like 3-4 years. He got you. He literally got you to thinking about what everything he has done meant. And he did a great job with it because that's what he's supposed to do as a writer. Especially if you don't complete the full story. And you do not understand that he got you because you think that you know best. When in reality, you might be wrong. You might be right. Everything you think or opinion or theories you have, you may be right. Right? Like, a lot of people thought about the true timeline theory, right? And for the most part, I think it was correct. But I do believe, the way I interpreted it might be something a little bit more into just like two timelines or something like that. I think there's something else that is going on in play, which is thanks to, certain people on Twitter who did do like theorize and tell their interpretation of it. And I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. Wait a minute. Oh, that will match with this as well, and stuff like that. So you build upon that theory, right? I have my own interpretation. That doesn't mean that I'm right. Do I think I'm right? No, fucking, I get things wrong all the fucking time. Are you kidding me? Do all my ships become canon? Hell fucking no. Are you kidding me? I was a Naruto Sakura shipper. For the longest time I was a Naruto Sakura shipper until I gave two shits about Naruto, and then it was like, oh well, whoever he ends up with, he ends up with. Yay! I was a Naruto Sakura shipper for a long time, and guess what? I was wrong. I was fucking wrong. It happens. You do not have to feel like you have to be right to justify your ship, to justify, your character and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. And you can still love your ship. You can look at fan art, fan fiction. There's going to be people who still love your ship no matter what, and you can still enjoy it. Even if it doesn't become canon, you can still enjoy your ship. Do I enjoy ships that didn't become canon? Of course I fucking do. Of course I do. Quintessential quintuplets. I hated the canon pairing, but I still enjoyed the non-canon pairing. Because I really love them. I thought they were, the better ship. But I respect the author's decision. Even though I have some critique on it, I respect the author's decision because that's what he wanted. Boom. There you go. It's as simple as fucking that. But for Final Fantasy VII, right now, nobody knows the ending. Nobody knows the right interpretation of it. At the end of the day, no one knows. There's no need to get so pissy about it. Allow people to have their own interpretations, their own opinions. That is why I think you absolutely should not cater or make your life revolve around a character or a ship at all, because then you become one of those people who becomes extremely toxic. Because you're going to defend your ship, you defend your character no matter what. And that just hurts. I understand there are moments that shippers have where their character gets attacked. My favorite character in One Piece is Nami. The amount of time she gets attacked is fucking ridiculous. Do I sometimes comment on people who say shit, who shit on Nami? Of course I fucking do. Of course I fucking do, because sometimes they make ridiculous claims that I have to point out that it's just ridiculous. And sometimes I come off maybe a little bit toxic. I'm not trying to be toxic to be toxic. I'm just trying to tell people that no, this isn't true. This person just has an agenda against a certain character. I understand defending your character. It's a very important thing as someone who's a fan of certain characters. And I understand that some people can be extremely fucking rude, extremely fucking evil when it comes to, like, you know, attacking your character or attacking streamers who like certain things. I understand that they're very fucked up people. The shipping communities are always like that, especially, you know, the high profile ones, because guess what? It's a fucking war zone. It's stupid. I don't like it being a war zone, but it is a fucking war zone, and it's fucking terrible. What they're trying to do is make you agitated. They're trying to make you angry so that you fight back, you claw back. And when they do that, guess what fucking happens? You come off as the bad person, because then they could use that. They can use the way you respond as a weapon against you, your ship, your favorite character, and make you come off as the bad person. Don't do this. Don't get into, like, you know, take the bait. It is not worth it for, one, your sanity. Two, to make you feel like your opinions, your favorite, you know, your favorite character is worthless. Your character is not worthless. If you really love a fucking character, love them. Yes, you can debate with people, tell them that they're wrong. You could do it without acting like aggressive or feel like you have to be toxic in order to get your point across. People will see that if you, like, legit debate with people more honestly, instead of being someone who's toxic and call people out or calling them stupid or anything like that, they will see that and be like, oh, okay, hold on. He's being respectful. He's debating respectfully. The other person's being the one who's trying to get him to be, you know, a little angry, a little aggressive. Now, not everyone's going to think that way, unfortunately, because that's just how debates work, especially in shippings and character communities. Some people will see that and be like, oh, you know what? I would love to have a discussion with this person to see why they think this way, and you can have a nice discussion. Being toxic or being aggressive in, like, any sort of discussion is not the proper way to do it, and it just makes you come off bad and worse in the way. There will always be, no matter what ship you believe in, no matter what character you love and you know, are a favorite of, there will always be those people who want to push their agenda in a very aggressive way and basically make, you know, them come off as a really bad person, and then people will basically, you know, just pile everyone in that same community together as the worst possible ship, or you know, worst fan base of that, you know, fandom. It will happen. You have to just understand that it's a fucking bait system. That's just how they want you to, you know, be aggressive, and that's how they attack you, to make them feel better. Don't do it. It doesn't matter what ship you are. No matter how good you think your ship or your, you know, your fandom in the ship is, guess what? You will always have those people who will be more aggressive than others and will make you look bad, no matter who you are. That will always fucking happen. You just gotta understand that no matter what, just stay calm and try to respond respectfully. If they do not wish to, you know, basically have a good, you know, proper discussion or proper debate, then just move on. That's all you have to do. It's not worth getting into a goddamn vile discussion where you start, you know, throwing insults at other people. It is not the way to do it. I want to preach that so fucking much. So it's just like, please just understand that your opinions, your interpretation, your favorite ship, your favorite character, they mean very much to you. And you should hold that in your heart, that you love that character, you love that ship, you love your ideas, how you think. Hold it. But understand that there will be people who will be against your opinion. And it's fine because they have different opinions. Just know that in your heart, you should love your ship, no matter what, even if it doesn't become canon. Just continue loving your ship. I know it's very hard to do, but at the end of the day, it's not worth getting into a very aggressive debate against people. I understand that some people will insult you, insult your character and all that stuff, and you have every right to, you know, if they start using slurs, insults, or whatever, you could block them. You can mute them as well, right? That's perfectly fine, and I understand why some people do that. But don't fall to that level, because then it makes you look bad, it makes everyone in your community bad, it makes everyone in your fandom look bad, and that's not worth it. The streamer, he has his own interpretation, he has his own opinion. That's all it is. More than likely, it will change. I believe in the same stream, he decided to go back on it because he realized, oh wait, this doesn't fit well with that idea, so maybe it's not that. It's understandable. Even if you feel like they, you know, go for a different character, for a different ship, and have more favoritism for them, that doesn't mean you can't have a proper debate with them. Everyone is allowed to interpret their own things. Until the story's finished, nothing you believe or think is canon until the full story is complete. I'm not saying your idea or your interpretation is stupid. That's not what I'm saying. It's just, it might not be right. And so don't come out and think it's factual and that you think someone misinterpreted the story and that they're fucking idiots. That's not the case. Everyone interprets it different. And at the end of the day, that's what the writer wanted, for us to debate and talk about it. Just understand that everyone has an opinion and we should respect the opinion unless it's an opinion that really attacks a certain character in a very vulgar way. Then you have a right to defend your character, but understand that do not do it by doing the same thing as they are. By, going down to their level. Because at the end of the day, they're baiting you. They're trolling you and they're just being a nuisance to you. Block them, mute them, just don't fall to their level. Everyone interprets it differently. Some people interpret the same way as you and some won't. Just be respectful. That's all that matters at the end of the day, because we're all part of the same fandom. Also, one last point I just want to make. Do not make claims of your character or your ship that are misleading. What I mean by that is, do not make posts about certain stuff, because I've seen people talk about how, like, Zach was dating Cisne during Crisis Core, which was not true, whatever, and they were using that to, debunk or make Zach look like a bad person. That's an example of something I saw on Twitter. Did you not play Crisis Core? There was no shot that Zach and Cisne were ever dating. So I don't know why you're using or coming up with some really stupid shit that is no way true to canon at all. That's what I mean. Do not use false evidence, false information that can literally be debunked by just playing a game, especially something that big. You can have interpretations of certain events in the game that could be different from someone else, but if you just spit out really bad claims and bad evidence, then all right, you haven't played the game, so this is just completely wrong. That's the only case where you're allowed to be like, now hold the fuck up. And I just want to say one last time, everyone's allowed their own interpretation and opinion, so just be mindful and just respect them, and you can have debates without going into arguments, calling each other slurs, and being aggressive about it. Don't attack streamers, because at the end of the day, they're still people. They have their own ideas, and just because a big streamer has a different opinion than yours doesn't mean that everyone will agree with him or them. It's just not possible. Someone's gonna disagree with them no matter what. Sorry, I ranted there for like 20 minutes. It's because I just wanted to get that off my fucking chest.